Here's a surprising reality most job seekers don't realise. Recruiters spend way more time looking for people to fill jobs than they do reviewing applications, and they're definitely not sitting around looking for jobs on behalf of people. In fact, towards the end of my recruitment career, I stopped posting jobs altogether. I'd already built such a strong network of talent I didn't need to, and a lot of experienced recruiters are the same. Think of it like a 10-year-old with the ultimate Pokemon card collection. I already had my rare cards, the people I trusted, rated and knew could deliver. So instead of advertising, I'd go straight to my network, pick the right person and place them. So if you were applying online, you weren't just up against the hundreds of applicants who applied for the role, you were against all of my pre-vetted, pre-screened superstars sitting in my database. So today I'm going to give you 6 powerful ways to make your LinkedIn profile more discoverable to recruiters without applying for a job. Because when your profile is working for you, you won't have to work so hard to secure those interviews. Recruiters will come to you instead of endlessly applying online. And this all starts with one of the most easiest and most underrated ways to get noticed by recruiters on LinkedIn. View their profiles and connect. You get around 100 to 200 connection invites every single week on LinkedIn, but most job seekers barely use a fraction of them. Now, yes, if you're looking for an immediate role, I'd focus most of my invites on hiring managers in your niche. They're the actual decision makers. But allocating even a small portion of those invites to recruiters can quietly work in your favor. When you connect with a recruiter, they'll almost always check out your profile. They live on LinkedIn. And if you look like the kind of person they typically place, you'll get added to their mental bench of strong candidates. And from that point on, you may be considered for roles you didn't even know exist yet. Now, in order for that to happen, you do of course need a profile that is working for you. So here's what I'd do if I were looking for a job today. Number 2, use the skills feature. Now, LinkedIn recently increased the number of skills you can add from 50 to 100, and that's a game changer. When LinkedIn first started with this feature, most recruiter searches were based on job titles, locations, or keywords. Now, while I suspect that's still the case, LinkedIn reports that nearly 40% of recruiter searches start with skills. That means the more accurately you populate your skills, the more often your profile will appear in recruiter search results. So if it were me, I wouldn't stop at your current job. You can add skills to every role you've ever had, volunteer experience, and even your education. Think of skills as SEO keywords. If you've done it, list it. Get that packed out as much as possible so that you're ranking on page 1 of the search results. Now, once your skills are packed out and working for you, the next thing I'd consider doing is uploading your resume to LinkedIn. Now, you can do this by going to the jobs tab, heading to resumes and application data, and uploading your resume there. And here's the key part. Toggle on share resume data with hirers. Now, this means that when employers are searching on the back end, they're not just seeing your headline or about section, they're getting the full picture. Now, a quick caveat here, because I know someone will ask. If I were actively applying for a specific role, I would always tailor my resume for that job. Always. But this particular step isn't about chasing roles. This is about creating extra opportunities that come to you without any additional work. So the master resume is fine, and you can think of it as giving employers everything they need to say, yep, let's give them a call without you ever having to hit apply. Okay, so that's your resume quietly doing the heavy lifting for you behind the scenes. Now, let's talk about something most people completely overlook, and that's getting on the company's radar before a job is even advertised. So number 4, follow and engage with your target companies. Now, I have a full video on this if you want to check it out, but in short, make the list of the companies you'd love to work for, head over to their company page on LinkedIn and hit follow. Then, and this is the part most people skip, find the employees who post regularly and start engaging with their content. You don't have to overcomplicate it. A simple like, comment, or reaction is enough to get you noticed. Now, next up, let's talk about one of the most debated features on LinkedIn, open to work. Now, this feature gets a lot of people arguing, so I'm not going to go into that, but simply want to highlight that there are two very different ways you can use it, and I'll share what I do and let you make your own call. So option one, you can privately indicate to recruiters that you're open to new opportunities. Now, this is ideal if you're still employed and don't want anyone at your current company to know. Recruiters using LinkedIn Recruiter can see this on the back end, which means you're more likely to show up in their searches. Then there's option two, where you can switch on the public green open to work banner, making your availability visible to everyone: recruiters, hiring managers, colleagues, your current boss. So LinkedIn's data shows that turning on open to work gives you around 35 to 40% increase in emails from recruiters in some cases. But here's my personal take. If I were actively searching, my preferred method would be to go straight to the hiring managers and decision makers, because as far as I'm concerned, that is hands down the best way to secure interviews. I'd still keep the open to work toggled on in the background, so it was potentially bringing in extra opportunities I wouldn't otherwise know about. It's kind of like setting a silent alarm that only the right people can hear, but really, if your profile is fully optimized, it's not even needed. So I prioritize that over any setting. Now, lastly, here's why I personally advise against using the public green banner. It can attract scammers and spam. Yes, scammers posing as recruiters who will tempt you in with opportunities only to use bait and switch tactics, where all of a sudden they want you to part with hundreds of dollars to get your resume client ready before you interview. It can make your search feel more public than you might want, and ultimately, if your profile is optimized the way I've shown you in this video and in my full LinkedIn profile series, if you've not yet seen it, recruiters will reach out to you anyway. So if you want to keep it clean, smart, and effective, go private. Let your optimized profile and activity do the talking. And if you want more on why I don't recommend the banner, I've got a whole video breaking that down in detail. For now, let me talk about the final strategy, which is only ever used by like 1% of people on LinkedIn. So number 6 is creating content that attracts recruiters and hiring managers. Remember what I said at the start. Recruiters spend way more time looking for talent than they do filtering through hundreds of applications. And if your profile is just sitting there static, you're relying solely on being found. But when you start creating content, even just 2 or 3 times a week, that all changes. You stop being a faceless resume and start becoming the person they already want. Now, I'm not talking about going viral or posting motivational quotes all day. I'm talking about 3 types of content that make recruiters and hiring managers pay attention. So I have a full video about this, but to summarize, you want a mix of entertaining content, so light, relatable, or industry-specific posts that grow your reach and get people to actually see you. This could be as simple as a meme captioned with something relatable in your field. And then valuable content. Now, this is your short, helpful insights from your role, industry, that shows you know your stuff. And then credible content, things like wins, projects, or lessons learned that position you as someone who delivers results. And when you combine those 3, your content will create a flywheel effect that will help you grow, nurture, and convert your LinkedIn network into inbound career opportunities forevermore. Recruiters and hiring managers will begin to view your profile, engage with your posts, and more often than not, they're the ones who initiate the conversation. Now, you don't need to become a full-time creator. Even 2 or 3 thoughtful posts a week can be enough to keep you on people's radar and in recruiters' deck of talent. And that's the real power here. When your profile and content are working for you, you get to spend less time chasing opportunities and more time choosing the right ones. So let me know in the comments, which of these are you going to put into action? Drop your answer below, and if you're only just getting to grips with LinkedIn, make sure you go take a look at my LinkedIn profile series. It'll help you get everything in shape from top to bottom. I'll see you there.